Alright guys, Monday night, I don't know, I guess it's about 6 o'clock. See what we can get over here. 6 o'clock, see if these fish are biting these smallmouth. They might be in the fall funk, guys. Might be in the fall funk. So, trying out this new rod. This is a lambing glass. Lambing glass, 7-foot light. Throwing a 3-inch mare. Throwing a Berkley mare, guys. Berkley mare. 3-inch. Throwing this on the line through. So I got a treble hook on here. So this fish hit it on a drop, guys. This fish hit it on a drop. Right here. Small smallmouth. Small. He hit this thing on a drop, guys. So, little, small smallmouth on the line through. Berkley mare, guys, right here. These fish are cold, guys, cold. Woo! Slimy and cold, guys. That hook was not coming out. My God, how do you do that? That hook was in a spot where it was not coming out. On the Berkley Mayor, guys. Line through. Here we go. Let me get my rag, wipe my hands off, and we'll be good to go. So that one hit it on the fall. That fish hit it on the fall, guys. I'm gonna pick you guys up a little bit. Pick you up. What's going on here? See here, get you back over here, straighten this out a little bit. So this is what happens when you use these treble hooks. Have a coating on there and they're a light wire. So a light wire treble hook, right, with a light action rod. Basically that light action hook, which is from VMC, just penetrates right into the fish. And then the pole, this is my new rod. This is a Lamy glass. A Lamy glass light action. Okay? So a light action, but it's a moderate. It bends all the way down in the plank, guys. Which is important because it keeps the fish pinned. There's no bouncing off. There's no... Once you hook the fish, they stay on. Especially with the moderate action, it bends all the way down here. All the way down. So like I said, that fish hit that on the fall. I didn't even get a chance to reel it. I threw it out there like that, flipped my bail, and he hit it right on the fall. I ran into some grass here. Grass or a leaf? A leaf. Huh. Let that float down, sink down a little bit, and then go. Tell you what, speaking of that new hurricane, you guys hear about the new hurricane that's about to hit Florida? Category 4, guys. Oh, what was that? I don't know if I was snagged there or something, but that pole loaded up. What do you guys recommend? Let me come a little closer. What do you guys recommend to put on these cork handles? See if some of you old timers out there, what can I put on the cork to preserve it so it doesn't crack, and you know what I mean? What can I put on there? Put it in the comments. Uh-oh, here's a fish, guys. He hit it on the fall, guys. This fish hit on the fall. I'm sitting here talking to you guys, and he hit it on the fall. Like I said, these fine wire, he's tangled up. He hit this on the fall, guys. This fish. He hit it on the fall. That's a nice smallmouth. You see where he got that? See where he got that treble? It's a fine wire treble. I got the wrong hand here. I got the wrong hand here. So I winded up getting the treble out, I think, and I pushed it back in. Here you go. It's a nice smallmouth right there, guys. So it's got to be 7 o'clock at night. I don't even know what time. But he hit that on the fall, guys, this fish. He hit it on the fall. So again, I'm using a line through system, guys. A line through system with a size 6 treble. A size 6 treble hook, okay? From VMC. It's got the PFE coating on there, which is like a smooth finish coating. It just penetrates. And like I said, I'm using a light action rod, guys. A light action rod. And that's very, very, very important. It keeps these fish pinned. So I'm using 1/8 ounce line through jig head, 1/8 ounce, a 3-inch Berkley Mayer with a size 6 VMC hook, treble hook, line through. But the key is the rod. It's a Lamy Glass XP Bass Series rod. This is a moderate action, light action, but it's moderate. It bends all the way down into the blank, and it keeps the fish pinned. That's very important. Also, these Berkley Mayer swim baits, the paddle tails, are scented, like heavily scented. So throwing it out there, it can just wobble down, and they can nail it and hold on to it. And then once I load into it, that hook just goes right into the fish with no problem. Remember, it's a fine wire, strong hook with a coating on it from VMC. I like the VMC ones, and I also like the ones from Gamakatsu, G-Finesse, the Aaron Martin ones. So it's got to say Aaron Martin treble hook, Aaron Martin treble with the coating, the nano coating, size 5 or like a size 5, maybe a size 6, whichever, you know, depends on the size swim bait. But you know, if you went with a size 5, you'd be fine. So I just threw it out there. And I'm just reeling it in slow, guys. That's it. Sometimes, like I said, they're hitting it on the fall. And once I feel them, I just load into it, and the whole pole bends. If you got a stiff rod, that's how these fish get off. That's why it's important, like when you're using jerk baits, right? Jerk baits, crank baits, a lipless crankbait. You want a rod that bends all the way down into the plank, like a glass rod. You want that parabolic bend. And you know, I haven't had one of these rods, but I'm liking this rod a lot. Liking this rod a lot. So if you guys, this is very important, guys. If you guys are throwing swim baits like Kitex, and you're using like, I don't know, if you're using like a medium rod, it's so important. It's so important to use the correct hook. What do I mean by the correct hook? Well, I recommend a light wire hook that penetrates easy. But if you can get a rod with a moderate action, that's what I recommend. Like these, like if I'm gonna throw a 3-inch swim bait like this, I'm gonna go with this light rod. A light rod with a moderate action that bends all the way down into the blank. You don't need a powerful rod to bring the fish in. The whole point is to penetrate the hook and to keep them pinned. That's the key. I don't know how many times, including myself, where you would hook the fish and they get off. A, you're using too thick of a hook, right? Either too thick of a hook and you're not setting the hook, or it's your rod. So if you're using a light wire hook, you should be able to keep them bend, you know, keep them pinned when you hook them with that parabolic bend. You know how your rod, the whole rod bends pretty much down to this eye right here. The whole rod bends. And that's what you want. You want to keep the fish pinned. Same thing with like a small jerk bait. If you're using small treble hooks, you want to use a rod like a medium light to a light action. You know, for like maybe a 2-inch jerk bait with fine wire trebles on there. If it's got those little fine wire size 10 or 8s on there, you want a rod that bends all the way down to the blank, like all the way down. You want a rod that bends and that'll keep it pinned. If you got too stiff of a rod and you're using a small treble hook, A, you're gonna rip the hook out of the fish's mouth, or B, you're gonna bend the hook. You're gonna straighten the hook out with too stiff of a rod. That's why it's important, you know, to have the right rod. when you're throwing, you know, jerk baits, swim baits, stuff like that. You know, you want a parabolic bend to the rod that stays bent when you're bringing the fish in. Basically, you want 3/4 of that rod to be bent. Even on like a medium-sized fish, you want 3/4 of that rod bent, and that's going to keep the fish pinned. So we got a couple more casts, and we got to get out of here because we're losing daylight. So throw that out there, right? Let it sink down a little bit, and go. I think I picked up some grass or something. Yeah, I picked up a leaf. Picked up a leaf and some dead grass. All right, guys, one more cast and we're out of here. Losing daylight. So again, in the description down below, guys, if you guys know about what I can use to preserve the cork, what can I use to preserve the cork on the rod? Put down in the description. If you guys, some of you old timers out there, you know what to put on the cork to, you know, keep it from cracking and dry rotting. Put down in the description what do you think I should put on here. One more cast and we're done. Here we go. Last cast, guys. Throw it out there, let it settle down a little bit. Here we go. Let it settle down a little more. And go. So remember, when you stop, this thing's fluttering down. The tail's wobbling, right? It's giving action. So don't just reel it in straight. Let it fall down. Especially if you're fishing a river, you got current. So if you throw this thing out there and start reeling it in right away, especially if it's in like 8-9 feet of water, you're not getting it down into the oh, what was that? You're not getting it down into the strike into the strike zone, guys. You want it at least mid-column. One more cast, one more cast. So you want this, like I said, if this is 8 feet, let it sink down. Let it sink down to like 5 feet, you know, and then reel it in, start reeling. And as I'm reeling in, you know, I'll stop again like I did. Stop and reel it in some more. Let it flutter down. Remember, the winter's coming up, guys. The winter's coming up, the fall's basically here. Eventually, you're gonna have to start fishing real slow. Once, you know, right now the water temperature is 66. You don't have to fish slow now, but once this gets down into the 40s, this water gets down into like the 40s, even like the fit, you know, like the low 50s, the 40s, you gotta slow down. Like when I'm picking up these fish, they feel cold. And that's exactly what's happening, you know, with the fall funk. It takes about 2 weeks for these fish to get out of the slump. Get these fish out of the slump, and then they're gonna start feeding again heavily before the winter. So, oh, snagged onto something. So right now I'm doing the old bow and arrow. Alright, that ain't coming up. Alright, we're done for tonight, guys. Lost my lure. We're done. We'll see you guys later. Everyone have a great night. And remember, you know, if you're using swim baits, the most important thing is, what I like is either a light action rod that has that parabolic bend to it, or a medium light. And if you're using a medium light to a light action, you got to use those fine wire hooks, either a treble hook like for a line through, a fine wire like a VMC, or the Gamakatsu Aaron Martin treble hooks with the nano coating. You want the hooks with the nano coating, so it drives nice and easy, nice penetration, boom. You don't need to go, you know, horse it in. And if you're using like a medium heavy for like a bigger swim bait, then, you know, you're going to use a thicker gauge hook. You're going to have to drive that hook into that fish. And, you know, like I said, the most important thing is you want a rod that has a parabolic, you know, bend to it, like a glass rod, and that'll keep them pinned. All right, guys, we're out of here. We got to go. Have a good night, and we'll see you again.